learning how to sell will not only make you extremely rich, but it will allow you to control your mind more closely, more accurately. Because basically, learning how to sell to other people is the same as learning how to sell to yourself. People who are afraid of selling to other people are basically afraid of their own power. Because if they knew what sales ability could do to change their lives, they would be scared. Because if you can sell a product, a service, or a solution to another person, you can do the same for yourself. In other words, if you can get someone else, a stranger, to take action, then you can certainly get yourself to take action. Because you know yourself better than anyone. You know yourself better than you know any stranger. So what I'm saying is that learning how to sell is really the key to transforming your life in any way that you want to transform it. Because sales ability simply means the ability to summon power, summon inner power, the ability to summon true power from the center of your being. So the people who are good at selling are good at summoning that power, which, by the way, every human being has. It's just that people have not practiced the art of summoning and channeling that power. Imagine once you learn how to sell, you can speak and hypnotize one person or 10,000 people, because it's the same principle. When you speak to 10,000 people, you are speaking to one mind. You are speaking to your own mind. Reality is simply you. Every person on this planet that you can possibly meet is only a projection of your own mind. Therefore, when you're trying to convince a prospect to buy your product, you're basically trying to convince yourself. What happens, however, is that people are afraid, like I said before, they are afraid of their own power. Now, why would anyone be afraid of his own power? Because they feel guilty, they feel unworthy of having this power. So, before any sales training can be effective, the person has to learn to accept his own power, has to learn to love himself unconditionally. I mean, he has to love himself enough to accept this huge power and use it to change his life. Once you learn how to sell effectively, in other words, once you learn how to summon this inner power that you have, that every person has, then nothing can stop you. Because if you want to do something, you will find a way to sell that idea, that project, that venture to yourself, and you will do it. You will not try, you will just do it. So once again, selling to other people is the same as selling to yourself, because there is only you in your consciousness. Other people are just a reflection of you. So if other people reject your sales proposition, it means that there is something inside of you that has rejected yourself in the first place, even before you met the prospect, even before you start the sales presentation. So rejection from other people is just a signal to you, an encouragement, an invitation to you to look within yourself. What is it that you are doubting about your product? What is it that you're doubting, that you're holding back, that you're not completely trusting about your product? Because if you trust your product 100%, you would knock on the door, on every door in the city, and you would sell and make millions of dollars. So what is it about your product? What is it about yourself? What is it about your self-confidence, your self-esteem, your sense of worth? What is it that is the problem? What do you believe about yourself that is preventing you from summoning the inner power to change your life, the inner power to improve your life, the inner power to convince the world to buy the product that you have created, and therefore to make you immensely rich? You see, sales training, the way that has been traditionally taught to people, is, from my point of view, it is superficial. It doesn't mean that it's bad. I mean, if it works, right? And people have the right to spend money on these expensive sales training seminar. What I'm saying is simply this. It's superficial because it doesn't get to the root of the problem. It doesn't get to the main issue, which is how you feel about yourself. So this is what I'm teaching women before I teach them how to sell, and the techniques are fairly simple. A teenager could understand the closing techniques, the sales presentation techniques, the seduction techniques, the hypnosis techniques. All of that is fairly intellectual. It's fairly simple. The problem, and this is what I include in my sales training to women, is how they feel about themselves. They must love themselves unconditionally. If you love yourself unconditionally, then you don't care anymore whether the prospect rejects you or not. You just don't care because you love your product unconditionally. You are having fun just talking about it. You don't care whether the prospect signs the contract or buys your product. You're having so much fun presenting it, talking about it, sharing your passion about it. And guess what? And this is really paradoxical. When you no longer care about whether they say yes or no to your sales proposition, that's when everybody will say yes to you because they sense your power, they sense your confidence, they sense your absolute trust in yourself and in your product. And that is what every person is buying from you. They are buying not your product, they are buying your trust in your product. They are buying your trust in yourself. And that is the secret. And the principle I want to share with you today really is that simple. People do not buy your products, they buy your trust in your products. They buy your trust in your services. If you can find a way to exude that trust in yourself, that unconditional love of yourself, everybody will buy from you. Whether you're selling a car, whether you're selling a professional service, whether you're selling a company, it doesn't matter because trust is unconditional. Your self love is unconditional, and people respond to that because they want that. They want to feel what you're feeling. So when I say that people don't buy your product, they buy your trust in your product, what I'm saying is that they want to buy the feeling that you have when you use your product. Ultimately, that's what life is all about. Life doesn't happen at the material level. Life happens at the feeling level, at the emotional level. People want to feel wealthy. They want to feel secure. They want to feel loved. That is what they're after. So it doesn't matter what you sell. You've got to find a way to feel the benefits of your products and show it. And then the prospect can see clearly that if you can feel that way about your product or service, then there's a pretty high likelihood that they will feel the same way about your products or your services. And that's when they make the buying decision. The great news, if you understand what I've been talking about, the great news is that you don't have to have a product or a service to sell right now. Everything that you do, make sure that you show to yourself your unconditional love, your unconditional trust in yourself, trust in what happens in your life. Everything that happens in your life happens for a reason, and if you have that trust, then you continually build your self-confidence, your unconditional self-love, and that will enable you to sell anything in life to anyone.